Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a Sudoku called Caged Connections by Brainteaser Artisan. You see we've got a bunch of killer cages that are kind of stuck together here, which looks kind of fun to me, so thought I'd give it a go. Let's get into our rule sets and then let's figure out how the heck to solve this thing. So where do we go? We got normal Sudoku rules apply. So every row, every column, and every 3x3 box contains the digits 1 through 9 once each. Digits in cages cannot repeat and must sum to the clue in the corner. So we've got killer cages. So whatever, any one of these cages, pick the one you like the most. It just means that the number in the top left corner is what the number of boxes that are in the cage when those digits are added together combined to. So these two digits would have to equal 9 when added together. Digits separated by an X sum to 10. So any of these X clues, the two digits that are on either side of the X must sum to equal 10. And digits separated by a V sum to 5. So same thing as the 10, just with a 5. These two digits, when added together, equal 5. Digits separated by a white dot are consecutive, so we're going into Kropki dots. So these two digits, whatever they may be, just have to be consecutive. 2, 3, 7, 8, whatever. And then the digits separated by a black dot are in a 1-to-2 ratio. So there's only one black dot in this particular puzzle, but these two digits must be in a 1-to-2 ratio. What the heck does that mean? It just means that whatever this digit is, X, call it, this is either 2X or X over 2. Or in even simpler terms, whatever this thing is, this has to be either half or double of it. That's kind of what the rules say. One digit is double the other. And then not all X's, V's, and dots are necessarily given. So there are no negative constraints that we're working with right now. So those are our rules. Let's get into this one and see how we do. And where do we want to start? Well, I saw something while I was reading the rule sets, which I thought was interesting. And we've got a 5-cell 15 cage. There's only one way to make a 5-cell 15 cage work, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 all add up to 15. Now, we can make a couple little reductions in our notations there, because you can never put a 5 on an X, because therefore the other one right next to it would have to be a 5 as well, and that doesn't work. So, is there anything further we can do with that? I don't think there is, but it's a little something we could just write in easily. Now, on the other hand, the 5s, I would typically like to put in the digits for the 5s, but they're not really doing much at first glance right now. Because on a 5 clue, clearly you can only have two different ways of making a 5. It's either 1, 4, or 2, 3. Those are the only ways to add two digits together to make 5 in a normal Sudoku. Another thing we can look at maybe is this 22 cage. So in a 3-cell 22 cage, you always have to have a 9, because if you don't have a 9, you have 8, 7, 6, and that equals 21. That doesn't add up to 22. Now, that also correlates with a black Kropki dot here, because you can never put a 9 on a black Kropki dot, because you can't have or double a 9 and have a valid Sudoku number. So we can put a 9 in here. Now, generally, I don't like to do this type of notation across a border, but at this point, I think it's perfectly fine. I can see that I'm looking at this cage right now. If things change, I might mess with that a little bit. What else are we looking at? Well, this 13 cage has 4 digits. Now, we can't figure out specifically what those 4 digits are going to be like we could for this 15 cage. But what we can do is say that this 13 cage must have a 1 in it. And the reasoning is because if you put 2, 3, 4, and 5, which are the remaining lowest 4 digits in it, you're getting 14. 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So therefore, there must be a 1 somewhere in here. There can't be a 1 here because this clue must add to a 10. So we know there's a 1 in here somewhere. Now, it probably behooves us to put in what these could be because we have the 1, 2, 3, 4 options set up here. So let's put those in and then validate that with our 13 cage, because there's going to be some reductions we can make as well. Now, could we ever put a 9 in this cage right here? And the answer is no, because then we'd have to, the very minimum we could put in these things would be 1, 2, 3, which is 6. That would give us 15, too high. We can't put an 8 in there for the same reason, because we'd have 6 plus 8 is 14. So that gets us down to a 6, 7 pair, which means we can remove the 1, 2 from here at the moment. Now, there's not going to be a whole lot more we can do with these guys above the bare minimum. I think it's going to be a 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 4. So we have to have a 1, we have to have a 2 at this stage because we have a high-ish number up in our top of our 13 cage. So these 3 digits are either equaling 6 or 7 to go with our 6 or 7 here. 6 plus 7 equals 13. Now we don't know which one is which yet, so if we have a 3 cell 6, it has to be 1, 2, 3. It's the only way we can make a 6. We have a 3 cell 7, the only way we can make it is 1, 2, 4. So we know there is a 1 and a 2 in these, full stop. And can we use, I think we can use this black Kropki dot to go back in here now. We can never put a 1 here, because we'd have to put a 2 here. And then we'd have a 9 plus a 2, which is 11. Then we'd have to fit an 11 up here somewhere. So that doesn't ever work. So let's get rid of you. Now, if we put a 2 here, we could put a 4 here. And 4, but we're going to find out that doesn't work. But if you put a 4 here, we've got a 9 and a 4 now, which is 13. We'd have to put an extra 9 in to get to 22. So let's get rid of our 2. And now we've just determined that these two have to be a 1, 2 pair, because we said we have to have 1 and 2 in here. This one cannot be either one. Now this 3, 4 pair is going to tell us that this is either a 6 or an 8, because we cannot combine the 4 to go down to a 2, because we already figured out that that does not work. So if we have a 6 or an 8 here, to go with our 9, if we have 9, 8, we're at 17, we need another 5. So we've got 9, 5, and if we've got 9, 6, we're at 15, we need 7. So those are our options. Didn't really like how that turned out, to be honest with you, but that's okay. Maybe this 14 cage now, because we're starting to create some bare minimums that are higher than the lowest that we can look at. We know we cannot have a 1 and a 2. Well, we can't have 1 or a 2 in either one of them, but because we have a 1, 2 pair here either. We can't have 3 and 4 here either, because then there'd be nothing to put here. So the very bare minimum we could put into this 14 cage that wouldn't break the puzzle is going to be 3 and 5. And if we did 3 and 5, we're up to 8. So not a great setup there. So maybe we need to go back up to our top here, because we've well, no, I thought I might have seen something, but I did not. I mean, we could put 6, 7, 8, 9 here because it has to go with 1, 2, 3, 4, but I don't believe that's helping us in any useful way. Now, another thing we could start looking at would just be straight up mathematics and see if it helps us any. I don't think it's going to, but we'll give it a look-see. So we've got a 29 cage and a 9 cage in this in box 3, which gives us 38. Now we know 1 through 9 has to occur once each in this box. So therefore, when you add up 1 through 9, it equals 45. So if we've got 38 already given, we've got 7 left. Now, that actually is very useful, and I probably should have started with that now that I see it. Because if we got 38 here, we have to have 7 in 3 cages. What have I said about 3 cages and 7s down here? They have to be 1, 2, and 4. So we could have just done that, been much happier, and gotten through this much faster. But Why would that be any fun whatsoever? Let's get rid of a bunch of this stuff now. Okay. So we've got this 3. This has to be 7. So I just went through a whole hullabaloo of stuff that I didn't necessarily have to do. But we all got to enjoy that little journey, because now everything's going to start falling through, or falling forward, now that we've got this information that was obvious. We've got the 9, 6 now determined here, which was the 15, so this has to be a 7 that goes with it, and not the 5. So we've got a 7, 9, and we can just plop our 9 and 7. Now, what are we doing? What are we doing? I guess we could have also looked at this 29 and realized a couple of things. First off, 4-cell cage, the absolute highest you can ever make is 30. So therefore, we actually know what all of this stuff is. And we would have known about it, 6 minutes earlier if I had just taken the time to look up here instead of going off on a little wild goose chase. So if the most you can ever make in 4 cells is 30, well, if you have 29, you just have to take 1 off of that. So you're going to have 9, 8, 7, 5 for that to work. And therefore, you end up with, surprisingly, a 3, 6, which adds up to 9. Yay, math. Or maths, depending on where you are in the world. I know some people find it annoying when Americans don't say maths, but use the singular. Anywho, so where else can we continue to go? This digit here. Well, we can let's look closer to home instead of jumping around, and maybe it's going to help us out. We can't put a 1 here. We could still have the 2, 4, or the 5, though. Now, can we do anything with this X clue, because it's been reduced now? Because we end up with a 9, 8, or 6. None of those are actually looking at anything, so I can't, or there's nothing looking at it that we can make that understanding. Now, what we can also do, now that we have this 3, we can start working down here into our 5 clue, because like I said earlier, there's only 2 ways to make a 5, which is 1, 4, and 3, 2. Now we cannot make a 3, 2, so we must make a 1, 4, and that 1, 4 is going to give us our 2 and our 1, and we are going to get a 1 right here through Sudoku, and we can remove our 9 from there, and our 1s from here. Now, we've got some further things working. I was going to say we might be able to do something here, but we can't quite, because this could still be 1 and these could be 9, 8. That would still work. Do we have anything else that's glaringly obvious right now? I don't believe so. Do we step over to any of these other clues, or do we take a look at our 20 cage again? Now, we can say that there's a bare minimum that this can be, which is 5 at the moment. I'm going to just type it in real quick. So if that's 5, we have to at least get up to a 15 for the rest of it, at minimum, which could be 9, 6. And it's not a problem to do that. And as this digit goes higher, there's less that needs to be put into here. Okay. I guess what we can also look at is our 1s, because we know there's no 1s here. There can't be a 1 here, because you can never put a 1 in a 20 cell and then try to figure out how to make 19 in 2 cells. So we get a 1. We know there's a 1 over here. I'm not going to type that in just yet. Now, we're kind of, we do have some limitations on this. What that 1 up there does for us, it tells us there has to be a 9 in this 20 cage. Just by basic Sudoku works, that way to do it. We can't put a 9 in any of these, therefore we have to put 1 here, and we can start getting rid of some random stuff that we printed in earlier. Now, we know there's a 9 in it, so now we know we have 13, good job. We know we have 11 left over. And it seems like there's probably multiple ways that could work. Is there? Well, we have 11 left. We can't do 8, 3 because we've got a 3 here. Obviously, we can't do 9, 2 because there's already a 9 in there. We can't do 7, 4. So what does that leave? It leaves 9, 6, 5. So we do actually get these things. So we can put our 8 in, our 2 in. This now has to be 4 because the 5 is here and the 2 is up here. So we get a 4, we get a 6, we get a 3. Awesome. So this is working somewhat well. Now we know what this is because we already used 1, 2, 3, and 4. So therefore this is 5. These can't be 6. We'll just continue the little path. So this must be my mouse clicking on multiple things. Why are you doing that? I'm only clicking on this one. Oh, I was clicking the wrong button. Sorry. This has to be... Wait, what did I just do? I made a mistake. Hold on. I think I did a misclick and I just removed certain things from something. So let's go back and do this again. Goodness, I'm all over the place right now. 20. We have to get to 20. We've got 9 or 11 already. We have to get to 11. We can't do 8, 3. We can't do 7, 4. We have to do 6, 5. This is a 9, 6, 5. This is not 9. If this is 9, 6, 5, this has to be 8. This has to be 2 to make it to 10. These are not 2s. This is also not a 5, so it has to be 4. And this has to be... I was looking at this as a 10 clue. That's where I goofed up. I had 10 on the mind, and I made a stupid mistake. So this is where the error occurs. So this is not 6, clearly, because it has to be adjacent to 4, not adding to 10. So this is 3, and that's 6. So that's just where the little goof up came from. Awesome. This is still a 5, as it turns out. We can also, again, remove the 8 from there. So, this last couple of solves, I've had a couple of goofs, haven't I? Oh well, it's all fun and one. These have not 2. Cannot type. There has to be a 4 in here, and there has to be a 3 in here. We'll note that quickly. What else can we start putting in here? Can we remove any options from this? Because we do have some limitations now. We can't, the bare minimum it can be is 5. Just 5, 6, 9 is really kind of where we are, because that's all that's left in this column. Now, if this was a 5, it could work with this being a 4 and a 9. And if this was a 9, we could still do anything. Okay, so that doesn't really help us. Although this can't be a 6 because we have a 6 right here, and these can't be 6s because we have a 6, so that forces the 6 and the 5 and the 9. Okay. Nothing there yet. So we've got these two down to 5 9s, these two right here. And like we said, either can't work because we do have something pointing at it. So if this was a 5, this would have to be a 4 and this would have to be a 9, but it cannot be a 9. So there we go, 9, 5. Now, further to this, we know the 9 is already there. So if this was a 1, this would have to be an 8. If this was a 4, that would give us 13. This would have to be 5, and we can't do that. So therefore, this is 8, and this is 1 and 4. There we go. Now, can we figure out what these two digits are? Because if we can, it's going to help us over here. They can't be from 1, 2, 3. They could be a 4. They can't be 5, 6, 8, or 9. So they are a 4, 7 pair. It's the only possibility between the box and the column that's left over. And I'm going to type these in real quick before I miss them. These are 5 and 8. Now we know these are 4 and 7. That equals 11. So therefore this is a 3. 4 or 7 here. Can't quite cross the border just yet. But I can put in what these two are just as kind of tidy up that column and finalize it. Okay, well, we know what these two are as well, because we've got this row, and I hadn't looked at it just yet, so let's get over here, because there's going to be an X that we're going to be able to do a little bit of something with, I think. These have to be from 6 and 8. So therefore, this has to be either a 4 or a 2. Now, can this be a 2? The answer is absolutely. Well, is that correct? Yeah, it could be. It could be. I was thinking the juxtaposition of what the 2 would do with the 8 might do something. But if this is a 2, we're left with 17, so we have to have 9, 8. The 9 would have to be here, the 8 would have to be here, and that would force a 7 here. The only thing, if we had to put 9 here, I'd put a 1 here. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any issue with that one at all. Okay, now we can go back to our V's, which I hadn't looked at this one yet because there wasn't anything looking at it until very recently. We have to, again, have a 1, 4, because we cannot have a 2, 3. So then we've got this 1, 4 sitting over here already. So therefore, we're going to get our 4 and our 1. We can remove 3 and 4 from these. In fact, we can just type them in here as those. This ends up being 5, 7, or 9. That cannot be 7 or 9, so therefore it is 5. So we can remove our 5 here, and that's going to tell us we've got a 7, 9 pair and a 5, 8 pair. Now, are we to the point where we're going to do these 3 digits on the column? We have to put in 2, 6, and 8. I think we're going to have a couple of things we can work with. This can't be 6 or 8, so this is 2. These are not 2. This 6, 8 says this can never be a 4, so therefore it is a 7, and this is a 4. This 6, 8 doesn't do anything just yet. Now, we could also type in these, but there's nothing looking at it just yet, but I'll put them in anyway. It's a 1, 7 pair. And I could as well do this, but there's not much doing over there, so I think it's just going to be kind of an empty little exercise. Where's the next step? Rows, columns, boxes, cages. Which one's going to do it for us? Can we do anything with this? If this is a 6, this has to be a 4, this has to be a 9. If this is an 8, this could be a 2 to allow a 9, or if it was an 8 with a 4, that would be 12, this would have to be 7. We cannot put a 7 here, so either way, this has to be a 9, so this has to be a 1. And we're going to get 7 and 1 here. Now we know we've got a 9, so we said it's either going to be 6, 4, or 8, 2. We don't know exactly which one it is yet. We have to put, well, we have to put a 4 in this box somewhere, so this means one of these is a 4. We have to put a 9 over here somewhere. The other digits, I don't think we can specify yet. Because the other digits on this would be an 8 and a 2. The 2 can go absolutely anywhere. The 8 could go in 3 of the positions, so that doesn't give us a whole lot of information. This 26 cage now, is this where we want to look? We've got 4 cells in it. We've already used a 4, which is a fairly low digit for a 26 cage. Now, the problem is it's a 4-cell 26. We can get up to 27 in 3. So there's not a ton that's really being knocked off of this. Now, is there anything Sudoku-wise that might help us out that I haven't quite pondered? Well, we get a little X-wing of 1s, but nothing really of use. 2s, there's nothing there. 3s, there's nothing there. I mean, you can get a 3 in here somewhere, but not really something I want to go for. 4s is the same thing. There's really nothing there. 5s. It just tells me one of these. Well, I guess that does some work because we can't put 5 in any of these. So there has to be a 5 here, which looks back and gives us our 8 and our 5. And then that should probably be the only useful thing the 5 does for us. The 6s, on the other hand, pretty much nothing. And then 7s. Again, a whole lot of nothing. 8s are a no-go. 9s appear to be a no-go. So we could type these guys in just for the heck of it. They don't give us anything off of the side. Now, if this was a 5, we'd end up with a 9 total. We'd have to have 17 more, which we can't do because this 8 looks in here. We'd have to do 9, 8, and that is not an option. So this can't be a 5. So let's put our 5 in. That doesn't give us anything up there, sadly. And can we do the same thing down here, actually? Because we can't have a 5 in any of these. Now, if we put a 5 here, again, we have to have a 9, 8. But the 8 sees both of these, so therefore that doesn't work. So this is 5. So the 5s did more than I thought they might do, which is nice. So one of these is a 5. And I thought we might get something crossing this border with the 5, but we don't, because this could still be a 6, and that seems like it would work perfectly fine. So let's continue, if we can, maybe with our 26 cage. So I know we have 22 left. We could very well have a 9 in it. Which would leave options. Now, could we put us, because the other thing looking down at this 26 cage, we have 7s that are similar to what the 5 was. They're in 2 options. Now, if the 7 was, let's just put those in. If this is a 7, we are now sitting at 11. So these have to equal 15. We could do 9, 6. We can't do 8, 7, clearly. So if we can remove the possibility of a 9, 6, that would actually give us a 7 here. But I don't quite see how that would, we would make that occur. That's a 9 and that's a 6, yeah. Interesting. So let's look at this digit, because there is some reduction or some restrictions on it. So maybe we can use this clue to kind of work things out. This could be 1, 2, 6, or 7, it appears to be. Now, that doesn't appear to do much of anything. Because this could still take on any of those possibilities. Yeah. So that's not great. Okay. It was worth a look. It didn't help out, but it's gonna have, something's about this 26 is gonna have to finish this stuff off if it's not just straight Sudoku that we're looking at. Or do we want to continue looking maybe at a couple of row options and see what comes of it? I don't know that that's going to be all that fruitful. Now, like we said, we know the 1 has to go over here in this row. The 2 could have gone anywhere. The 6 as well pretty much could go anywhere. And the 7, well, the 7 has to go over here somewhere. So we can put that in for what it's worth. Maybe we're looking at cross sections here. So all of these see this. What can this digit be? Is that something that's going to give us any use? We can't do 1, 2, 3, We can do 5. We can't, or can we do 4? We can't do 5, 6, 7. We could do 8, and we can't do 9. So it comes down to a 4 or 8. Didn't help as much as I hoped it would. Although it does say that these now have to have 3. And again, that's not all that helpful. So what the heck are we doing here? What about this digit? Let's lock this digit down into something, and then maybe we can start making some determinations. Let's just do everything that we know it possibly could be right now, and then we'll start removing. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So it's an even digit. It's kind of interesting that these are all left as even digits. I didn't even notice that with the 1, 3, 5, 7 already done. This can't be 4, clearly, because there's already a 4 in it. This can't be a 2, because if it was a 2, we'd have 6, and we'd have to create 2 different digits that equal to 20. So we end up with a 6, 8 pair, which does give us a 2, 4 pair. That is something. Maybe. Because we've got a 6, 8 here. We've got 2s and 4s. That's going to give us whatever this is. I mean, not give it to us, but yeah, okay, so this is going to work. This is what we should have done earlier on. These have to be from 8 and 9. Because of that, we now know this can't be the 8. That was the only digit that was needed left on this one. So this is 4. Now, these are in this row. We're going to also have some things figured out that we can work with, because we can't put an 8 in this box here anymore. So now where does the 8 go? Well, it has to go here. So this has to be 6. It's going to give us a bunch of information, and we can probably just mosey along now. And we do get our deet doot in the corner, which is lovely. We've got what's left on here, 3 and 7. So I think we're pretty clear this can't be a 7, right? Because we'd have, or a 3, because we'd have 6, 4, and 3 equals 13. So this is 7. So this is 3, and then we can just, I really hate it when my mouse clicks multiple things that I didn't ask it to do. So we've got 17 now, so this does have to be the 9. That 8 sees the 6. This sees both 7 and 9, so it must be 6. We can get rid of those. These 2 digits had to be from 2 and 8, so therefore there's a 2 here, 8 and 2. And it looks like we're going to get this thing finalized here pretty quickly. 2, 3, and 5. This can't be 3 or 5, so therefore it is 2. Remove the 2 from here. This is 3 or 5, so this can't be 1 or 7. What's left to go in these columns maybe is probably the best way to look at it. This can't be 1 or 7, we just said, so this is 1, this is 7. Therefore is 1. We can get rid of those. These 2, we need an 8 and a 9. We've got an 8 over there, so we've got, and I'm on the wrong thing. We've got 8 and 9 and 7 and 9. And finally, 4, 2, 4. These have to be from, what are they, 7 and 6, I believe? 7 and 6, and these have to be from 3 and 6. 3, 6. So the 3, 6 there gives us our 2. Therefore, this has to be 3 and 5. And this is going to finish it off. 8, 5, 9, 8. The 9 gives us our 7 and our 9. And that 7 is going to give us our 6 and our 7 and our 3 and our 6. And there we go. You saw the puzzle solution is correct. Cage Connections by Brainteaser Artisan. It took me a little longer than it should have. I had a little mishap back here too as well, but excellent puzzle, all worked out quite lovely. I hope you all enjoyed that one, and I'll see you in the next. Thanks, bye.